WNYT, Albany, in HD. News Channel 13, today, begins right now.
Funeral plans are being made for a Marine with ties to the Berkshires who was killed in a training accident in Nevada.
The nation's highest court will come to grips with same-sex marriage later this morning. Plenty of proponents and opponents are traveling to Washington to be there.
And spring still hasn't sprung for us here in the capital region, but other parts of the country have it even worse. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sabrina Dami.
And I'm Phil Bailey. Today's Tuesday, March 26th. Now let's get a check on your first morning weather on the one forecast with Paul Cayano. Paul?
All right, Phil, thanks, and good morning. Good morning to you, Sabrina. We're looking at a generally quiet start to the day here across the capital region. We had a few passing rain and snow showers overnight. Some of those snow showers did dust the ground in parts of the hills, especially east of the Hudson River Valley, particularly parts of Bennington County, over into parts of Berkshire County and the Rensselaer Hills. Got a report from Mountain Mike of dusting of snow out in Grafton. But you can see most of this activity diminishing considerably early this morning, with temperatures back down into the 20s and lower 30s. Albany officially 34, 32 at Duanesburg, 37 degrees in Catskill. So out at the bus stop this morning, prepare for that little bit of a chill, maybe a wet ground, maybe even a little dust of snow in spots with mostly cloudy skies. Let's say on average about 33 degrees. We'll look for readings to climb up through the mid 30s, upper 30s by, let's say, late morning, and then we'll push into the lower 40s, pretty much where we were yesterday by the afternoon hours. A bit of a northwest wind will tend to kick in today, adding to the chill. That combined with limited sunshine will keep that cool late winter-like feel in the air. We'll continue with this type of weather pattern for the next couple of days, but things begin to improve just a bit as we approach the Easter weekend. We'll detail that and have the complete forecast coming up all in about 8 minutes. Sabrina and Phil.
All right, Paul, thank you. Breaking news this morning. 2 people are under arrest accused of setting a fire we first told you about yesterday morning. Police say a fight over child custody apparently prompted a man to set fire to an apartment in the village of Granville on Meadowy Street. 6 people had to be rescued. Police say 44-year-old Stephen Garmathi had a child with one of the residents. He was allegedly upset because the woman would not let him see the child. So police say he and 57-year-old Joseph Garrier went to the building early yesterday morning. Police say Garmathi poured gasoline on the stairway and started the fire. When firefighters arrived, 5 or 6 people were on the roof. Both men are in jail without bail this morning.
Now, 30 buses have left New York this morning, bound for the nation's capital, filled with opponents of same-sex marriage. The buses pulled together by New York State Senator Ruben Diaz from the Bronx. He is an outspoken opponent of same-sex marriage at the state capitol in Albany.
The U.S. Supreme Court will begin hearing arguments today on a case that has the potential to truly be monumental for same-sex couples across the country. Tracy Potts has more from Washington.
Dozens are camped out this morning waiting to be part of history.
It's okay to disagree with us and about issues, but we still need to be recognized and part of the fabric of this country.
Experts say it'll be hard for the court to ignore a huge shift in public opinion. 20 years ago, most of the country opposed same-sex marriage.
The fact that the majority of Americans support marriage for gay and lesbian couples is definitely going to be something that will be in the back of the justices' minds.
2 California couples are challenging the state's 2008 voter-approved ban. Opponents say it violates the 14th Amendment.
And we want to feel the same sense of security that other married couples want to have. We think it's worth fighting for.
Supporters argue traditional marriage must be protected.
The institution of marriage and marriage laws are designed to attach mothers and fathers to each other and to the children that they may create and raise in the best environment. 9
states plus Washington, D.C. allow same-sex marriage. 38 states don't. President Obama's changed his mind, and so have some Republicans.
If you believe that the government shouldn't be involved in personal lives, which most Republicans and conservatives do, then I don't see how it's contradictory.
We're here for them to get married.
Last night's vigil, just the beginning of 2 days of arguments that will determine how America defines marriage and for whom. Of course, this is Washington, and what happens here at the court also affects what happens across the street at the Capitol. Some Republican insiders are already saying if the party embraces marriage equality, it could open up donations 2 years from now in liberal states like New York and California. From the U.S. Supreme Court, I'm Tracy Potts, NBC News.
Washington is also implementing the cuts necessitated by the sequester budget adjustments, and that is costing Capital Region residents salary and hours allowed on the job. Federal employees plan a protest outside the Leo O'Brien Federal Building in Albany today. They say more than 150 local Internal Revenue Service employees are facing furloughs. There are other federal employees here also facing cuts and potential furloughs. That Stop the Sequester rally is planned for 11:30 this morning at the Federal Building at 1 Clinton Square.
Funeral arrangements have been set for a Marine with ties to Berkshire County killed during a training exercise in Nevada. 23-year-old Lance Corporal Roger Muchnick died last week when a mortar exploded at Hawthorne Army Depot. He grew up in Westport, Connecticut, but his grandparents, Bob and Mary Ann Coakley, live in Lenox. Services will be held in Lenox at the end of the week. The funeral is at 11 o'clock Friday morning at St. Anne's in Lenox. He'll be buried at St. Anne's Cemetery. New overnight, 8 suicide bombers have attacked a police headquarters in eastern Afghanistan, killing 5 officers and wounding 4 others. Police say one attacker detonated his bomb-laden vehicle in front of the police station, and another 7 attackers stormed the compound. 3 attackers blew themselves up, and the other 4 were shot by police. Meanwhile, Secretary of State John Kerry met again today with Afghan President Hamid Karzai. After the first day of meetings, Kerry said he and Karzai are now on the same page as international forces prepare to end combat operations in 2014. Kerry is in Kabul and is also holding a series of meetings at the American Embassy before wrapping up his unannounced 2-day visit.
A numbers cruncher and research wonk who quantified the gun violence in Albany has passed away. Dr. Leonard Morgenbesser was a quiet crime fighter. He endlessly tracked and compiled the number of gunshots fired in Albany and those that found their mark. He would call this reporter and others when clarification of a shooting was needed. Lenny Morgenbesser was a member of Albany's first gun violence task force. He worked for the state and did much of what he is best known for on his own time. Dr. Leonard Morgenbesser has died at the age of 62 after battling brain cancer.
We are still dealing with cold weather. Some of us even saw some snow flurries this morning, but several states across the country have it much worse. Jay Gray reports a major winter system continues to cause problems across much of the country.